Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Brother Sister Show. We are a family-owned and operated podcast where two siblings keep in touch by talking about movies. This week on episode 96, we're talking about Lamb.
Lamb.
But before that, we normally catch up because we don't talk. But what's up?
Ever.
What's up? What's happening?
Doing well. Randy boy, the puppy, was neutered today.
Ouch.
So yeah, he's doing pretty well though. Because he's so young. Not like super young, but he's young enough to where he'll like bounce back pretty fast. So I think he's still drowsy and probably a little achy. Not eating as much, not drinking as much, but he's doing good. He's a cutie. So that has been my week that I've been very busy with that. Yeah. Not my week, it happened today, but it's going to be the rest of my week. And yeah, I haven't been watching as much. I'm trying to think of what I have done. What did I do this week? I didn't really do anything. Just did a lot of work. Like
nice.
Yeah, on the weekend, during the week, just the grind truly never stops.
Amen.
And I haven't watched a lot. I watched obviously Lamb. I was able to. Okay, so it's you've never had a puppy, Anthony, right? So like it's the one thing I didn't realize, there's a lot of things I didn't realize about having a puppy. But one of them, and it seems so like I should have known this, but I guess I didn't really realize until we had him, that it's basically like kind of what parents complain about how you can't just go to the movies. Like it's especially if Sebastian and I want to go together, it's a whole production where we have to like leave him with one of our parents, or we have to have somebody watch him, or like he's too young right now to leave by himself. I mean, we technically could, but if he probably would just cry the whole time, and it would just be bad. Exactly. He's a punk ass bitch, and so he's just gonna cry the whole time. Also, it's balls. Yeah. Oh. He's also just like, he's too young. He'll have accidents. He's just so young that it's difficult to do that. So that's kind of funny to be like, I told Sebastian, like, I have to go see Lamb for the podcast and I want you to go with me, but can you ask your mom and dad, one of them, if they can watch Randall?
Clear schedule. Kind of okay.
Funny. Yeah. That's what's nice about now that we live in San Antonio, that we have family nearby.
True.
Especially because we're going out of town this weekend. And that was another thing, like the entire weekend, I was like, oh, like what are we gonna do? But our parents are graciously, I mean, mom agreed to it. I don't know if dad knows. Maybe he's figuring out whenever this podcast comes out that this weekend he is watching.
Dad just paused it. He's gonna go talk to mom.
He's gonna replay it, and she's like, "What is the lamb had a coat on? What does that mean? What the fuck? What? Well, Randall does have a hoodie, so maybe that'll sweeten the deal.
The boy had a coat on.
Yeah. So we have to, like, that's the funny thing about having a puppy. There's so many things. Like he'll cry, like sometimes
hilarious
during the night. No, like it's funny during the night when he has to be let out, like he'll cry sometimes. Or it's either like people say, well, he either needs to go to the restroom, he's either hungry, he's thirsty, or he just like wants attention. And I was like, oh, so like a baby. Yeah. Like, yeah. So that's interesting. It's not, I can't equate it to having a baby, but it is like, I think it's adjacent to it. Like it's kind of, I guess, a sneak peek. So it's made me push, like whatever I have an idea of when I want to have kids, like added 5 years just having this puppy.
For sure.
Yeah. So I also just don't really talk to people anymore because just everything is consumed by the puppy, but it's a lot better now. The thing that was interesting was, well, it was a lot better because of this movie, and I'll get into it why. I don't know, just I there's a lot of things I connected with in this movie. And another thing too is just like seeing his personality come out, because when they're so young, they kind of just like eat, shit, sleep. Like that's all they do. So when they get older, they start to get like these little personality, like this quirks that they have that are very recognizable. But I didn't realize how much he has, or just how much I know him until he got his like procedure today. Because I was showing y'all earlier on FaceTime, just like, I mean, I don't know if y'all could tell anything or if he's just like, just how he is. He's just standing around, but he just is so different with like being under like medication and, just having had an operation. He's not his like normal self.
Yeah. I mean,
That's sad to
naturally.
see. Yeah. It's like sad to see it's only going to last for like a day. But it is kind of comforting to be like, well, I know him, I know that he's not feeling well because of how he just looks at me. So yeah.
Yeah. Every time you FaceTime we FaceTime, he's normally asleep. Like he's in the middle of a nap. So I don't really know.
That's when I'm like able to talk to people, is when when I put him down. Yeah. Oh, that sounds weird. But I still, because I saw this. Oh, I've been watching a lot of shows, which is interesting for me, because I'm not really I feel like I'm not a show person, but I've watched like fully watched within the last month, from beginning to end, like maybe like 4 or 5 shows. Which is very interesting for me. But the reason I keep saying it like that is because I watched a show called Made on Netflix.
Oh yeah, I heard about it.
Highly recommend. It's very good.
Really?
The main actress in it, amazing. She makes the whole series. But the whole thing about kids is like, did you like, I think that's what they say when there's this one scene where there's like 2 parents that are like separate kids. They're not together, but they are living together for a little bit. And she, at the end of the night, he'll come in and he's like, oh, did you put, and her name's Maddie, the kid, did you put Maddie down like to go to sleep? That's what you say. And she's like, yeah. Did you put whatever his kid's name down? And he's like, yeah. So now that's what I keep saying. Like, oh, what's Randall doing? Oh, I just put him down for a nap.
Yeah, for dogs, that's like,
I know I shouldn't say it like that. No, I say put him down for a nap. I don't say put him down. I watch it. It's not even the actual saying. I'm like butchering it. But no, I wouldn't. Yeah, I didn't even make that connection.
Hilarious.
If I don't, can you imagine? Mom's like, how's Randall? I just put him down.
I had to put him down.
Oh no. No, I say that he's down for a nap right now. That's what I say.
He's down.
And it sounds like I'm talking about a child. That was the whole point of that story. It's just funny to talk to people when they're like, what's Randall doing right now? Oh, he's napping.
Oh, I just put him down. Hilarious.
He's down for the day. But yeah. But more about the show. So I watched Made, which is very good. I don't want to give away. I mean, it's not like, it's kind of just a drama. It is one of those that I feel like I say that I can watch anything, and then I realize once I'm watching things that I'm like, oh, that's a fucking lie. And one thing, and it reminds me that I have anxiety, because I forget that I like have, I have anxiety. I take medication for it. And when I watched this show, there were certain parts where I had to fast forward. That I don't know if this is kind of a thing that anxious people do, I think. But when you watch something new and you like say, so like let's talk about that scene in like Parasite. I wouldn't have done this because I think it's different with movies. But when there's that one scene where you don't know what's going to happen, like they're trying to clean up in time for the family to get home. Yeah. And you're like, fuck, what? Like you don't know if they're going to do it in time. You like, there's so many like questions, right? And you're just really tense and anxious. If that was in a show, maybe, and if I was watching it at home by myself, then I would have fast forwarded just to see if they would have, if they would have made it.
Oh,
and then I would have rewound it so that I could watch it in full. Because for me, sometimes, especially at times like this past week, when I've been pretty anxious, I just wasn't in a mental space to be anxious while watching entertainment. So I have to do that shortcut of like, let me just like look at the preview on Netflix when you fast forward, they have the little like rectangles and
Yeah.
see what kind of happens, and then I'll like rewind it. But I just need to make sure, I need to know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I used to take it to the next level, or not so much with shows, but with movies when I was a little bit younger. I would like look up the plot and read it as I was watching it.
Yeah, I've heard of people that do that.
But I had to stop because I'm like, I'm ruining this experience for myself. Like,
I only do that with scenes, and like I said, only when it's by myself. Like I think that's why I've learned that the reason I like movie theaters is because it forces myself to experience entertainment in a very specific way.
yeah,
Where when I'm at home, I can't not be on my phone and do something, like I have to do something with my hands. But when I'm in a theater, it's kind of like, it's what my therapist said. It's kind of like that's how I meditate. She
it's a
said,
sensory deprivation tank.
yeah. And she said, or not meditate. Oh, I guess so. But it's like, she said, that's my way of being mindful, because I don't have a lot of times in my life where I'm forced to not be on my phone, because my fear of people being angry at me is worse than my fear of like letting my mind take in something fully. So yeah. So that's why I do it for shows, I think, because I'm like, who gives a fuck? Like, whatever. But that show was pretty, like, there was a lot of things that made me a lot of like very anxious, but it was a pretty easy watch. And then I think I've talked about this before, but I'll talk about it as long as I can. But the other two, that show, holy shit. I want to rewatch it, and I think I'm gonna wait like a month, and then I'll probably rewatch it all the way through. Or I'll do what I do when I want to rewatch something, but I don't want to do it by myself. I'll like tell Sebastian, or I'll make somebody else watch it with me, because I want to experience them experiencing it.
Yeah.
And then I watched. There was another one. Oh, I started. I don't know. I don't know what it is about this the second season of Dave, but it's become very hard to get through. I don't. Sebastian said it gets better, and I'm gonna stick it. I'm gonna stick it out. I want to get to the end of it.
Yeah.
But I just got to the episode with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
That was a good one.
There, and I think there's one after that I've started, but I don't know. It
does seem a little bit more all over the place, I'll say, the second season.
Yeah, and I feel that made me really anxious too, or just like I didn't really like the first episode either, because it was kind of that same, like, he wanted to get his backpack, but then that kid was arrested. Like I just thought, I don't know, it just made me very annoyed with his character. And yeah, I don't know. So that's what I've been doing. And Requiem for a Dream, but we can talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I just been going to school and dedicating more time to watching movies. I've watched 15 in the past, like since last time we were recorded. 15 movies. It's like an average. It feels like
a Freaky Friday situation going on.
I know it's I don't know what it is. I need to watch movies, and I'll like kind of break it up. Like, so I average, about 2 a day, and I'll watch it like on my bus ride, just like in between classes too. But it like kind of like a show, because I'll watch 30, like up to an hour of a movie. It'll take me like, half a day to watch an entire movie. So I have like sort of two main groups of movies. I don't want to go through like every single one of them. I will. I'll mention each of them, but I have like 2 main groups that I've been watching. One are the horror movies that I wanted to watch for Halloween, or for October, and I kind of got behind 2 movies right now. So I watched Nightmare on Elm Street, the first one, The Silence of the Lambs, Rosemary's Baby, The Babadook, which we watched on Discord, Friday the 13th, Orphan, Wreck, and Child's Play. I watched Child's Play today. A majority of these have been like classics, Nightmare on Elm Street, Silence of the Lambs. Solid movies. I think my favorite out of all of those was probably Rosemary's Baby, just
Really?
because of how I just saw the influence on so many different other horror
Mm,
movies. I guess Silence of the Lamb as well. Um, the ones I didn't really like are A Nightmare on Elm Street. Like those are that one was kind of ridiculous.
yeah.
Just like the special effects did not hold up, especially towards the end. Because I was watching it on my phone. I was gonna watch it with Kayla, but she didn't want to. And towards the
Good
end,
call.
she was looking at my phone and she saw some of the effects and she was like, "What is this movie? I thought that was gonna be scary, but it was
Mm-mm,
not."
not even
Child's
close.
Play I watched today. Uh, kind of kind of decent, not too bad.
I don't think I've ever seen it. I saw the reboot or like the new one.
I saw that
Very
one
bad.
too. Yeah, not that good. Uh, and then the like sub genre or sub like category within like the horror movies I've been watching, or like the more recent ones, like the Babadook, I really liked.
Mm-hmm.
We like I said, we watched that on Discord. It was just me, you, and Emily.
Mm-hmm.
Some good scares. I think it's a good allegory. Solid. Then I watched or okay, I don't want to really talk about Orphan. That was a good twist, but
Why
Wreck.
don't you want to talk about it?
I don't really have anything else to say. Like it was a good twist. Didn't see that coming. Solid.
I know who you said you didn't like the dad. Who plays the dad?
Oh,
Is it
I didn't like his character whatsoever. Like I hated him throughout.
because it was a lady from the Conjuring movies, right? Was the
Yeah.
mom?
Oh, it's Peter Sarsgaard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I like just
Okay.
throughout. I was like, you're a shitty. You're bad. But the one I wanted to talk about was Rec or Record. I don't know how you. It's the Spanish foreign horror that inspired. It didn't. I guess it inspired
It was
the
yeah, I had an American remake called Quarantine.
called Quarantine. Why? It just kind of. I wish I watched it before we talked about like on last episode,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like very in that same vein of discussion of like this
But
quarantine should not have been made. Just I think what I put was like the scariest thing to me about this movie is that, or no, like I hate that someone watched this and thought that the scariest thing was it was not in English. It just
yeah,
that's so
like there was no part of the quarantine. I don't remember if there was anything different, but there was no part of it that was like actually better.
almost shot for shot. I'd say I think
Yeah.
the I looked it up. The only thing that was changed in quarantine was the ending, because the ending in the other, I don't want to spoil it, but it's just different a little bit. But I think a lot of the dialogue, I think the character, like the main lady, her name's the exact same. It's just
Mm,
it just I hate that so much.
yeah. So stupid. Yeah, this one's good. I don't know anything about I know there's a lot of sequels. I don't know anything
Yeah,
about them
there's
though. I
there's
can't imagine they're good though.
there's two more. I kind of want to visit them because it seems kind of interesting. I don't know about the third one, but the second one is just like people going into the aftermath of the building. So that would be pretty
Mm.
cool to see. I watched a movie called Porto. It's one of Anton Yelchin's last movies that came out.
Mm.
It's 75 minutes. I looked it up. It's I kept on seeing like it being classified as a short film, but also as like a feature length. I don't really know. Um, I would definitely check it out if I were you. It shot super interesting. It's shot in like three parts, where the first or it's like all on film, and the first part is like on 8, like Super 8. The second is 16 millimeter, and the third is 32 millimeter. So it's really interesting the way that I don't know the director's name, but the way it's like Gabe Klinger, the way it's all intercut and tells the story. The dialogue for me a little too poetic, and just like the overall plot. But I really
Mm.
thought it was good. Or it was okay, to be honest. And the reason I'm behind on my movies, my Halloween Spooktober movies, is because I started watching a bunch of old 2000s movies.
I
Movies that like
saw Accepted.
yeah, movies that like kind of grew up on. So we got Dodgeball, it started it off.
Mm-hmm.
It's just amazing. School of Rock is probably one of my favorites, I think, after rewatching it, like of all time. I might add it
I
to
haven't
my
seen it in a long
favorites on
time.
Letterboxd. It's
I did remember, or I just forgot that today Sebastian wanted to watch a rom com, and I was like, I got you. And we watched The Holiday. I don't know if you've seen that.
I don't think so.
Jack Black's in it, and he's very good in it.
Mm, I'll check it out. Yeah, School of Rock. I watched Zombieland because I got the Steel book at Best Buy. This one's not really in that category, but it's Hellboy, the David Harbour one.
Mm-hmm.
Not that good. Then Accepted. Yeah,
Harbor. I think you
Accepted.
said Arbor.
Oh, I said Harbor.
Oh, I
I
think you said
might have
Arbor.
just said it so fast. Said Harbor. Accepted is an amazing movie.
It's
I was
really good.
I was very surprised that Kayla had never seen it, and she was the one who was like, "Accepted?" I said, "Yes, 100%."
I don't think Sebastian had seen it either, and I had him watch it.
It's funny because we were walking around campus and we saw a dude in a hot dog costume, and I was
Did you really?
yeah, I went to Kayla. I was like, "Ask me
Ask me
about my
about my
wiener."
wiener.
And then I like clicked while we were watching it because I asked her, "You never seen this before?" She's like, "No." I was like, "So you just didn't know what I was talking about when I said that?"
Oh, this was before.
Yeah, this was like
She
way
was like,
before.
"Yeah, that's funny. You should put that in the movie."
She was like, "Yeah, I had no idea what you were talking about. I just kind of was like,
So
oh,
funny. Ask me about my wiener. And my favorite thing about showing people that movie, I think I've only told people like it's not one of the movies that I'm like always telling people to watch, but the funniest reaction to it is when people realize like how stacked that cast is.
mm,
Not like it's not a ton of
not
people,
ridiculously stacked."
but it's still like, is that Blake Lively? Like it's like weird. Like, what is Jonah Hill in this movie?
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I love that movie. That movie is very funny, and I can't believe people don't talk about it enough.
yeah. Some of the jokes haven't
Solid.
aged well. Like,
Oh, I thought you meant like some of the jokes are really good, but yeah,
some of the
no.
jokes are solid. Some of them haven't aged well.
Oh yeah.
As with a lot of like dodgeball's the same way, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yep.
that's it. I think watch Friday the 13th. I didn't mention that in the
I
like
thought you did.
classics.
Maybe you didn't. And the last
That one.
episode.
No, I
Oh,
don't
maybe
think
you
so.
didn't.
Cause yeah, but I just been going in on watching movies. Did
That's
lose
good.
2 followers. I'll say that.
Well, moment of silence.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell, man.
What did you do?
It's cool.
I think it was watching School of Rock, maybe.
That's a shame. That's a damn shame. I was really proud of my Child's Play review. So if you're interested, go check it out.
Do you want to read it or you just want to tease it?
I just want to tease it. Did
Yep.
you read it?
Yep.
Thoughts?
You failed to mention, I don't know, you're just I always forget how you were as a kid. Like, you were just scared of everything.
I was, scared of a lot.
There's so many stories that I love telling that are just like random, like whenever you got scared when we played Clue.
I think it's time to play the family tree again.
And then wait, my other one was when we went to go see, I think it was you. I'm pretty sure it was you. And I want to see when this movie came out because there was this movie that we all went to go see as a family. And it was like a space one. I think it's like not Apollo 13, it's like Apollo 18 or something like that. And it was such a bad movie, but you came to see it.
Oh, I was terrified. Came out 2011. I was like 10 at the time, probably.
Nobody made you go, which is so funny.
I know. I really wanted to see that movie.
You wanted to go. You wanted to see it. And then when the trailers were playing, you can tell me if I remember this wrong, but I think this is exactly what happened. Where the trailer started and somebody, I wasn't sitting next to you, but I heard like mom was talking to you or something, and I was like, "What's happening?" And they were like, "Anthony's crying."
I don't remember that, but
You were crying, and it was only
just like getting prepared.
But that's how scared you used to be. So that's why, like, every time you talk about the movies you haven't seen, like, there's the classics that I'm like, oh yeah, I've just watched those. But there's some that are like more recent, and I was like, how come you've never seen these? And I think about that, I'm like, oh, because he used to be like terrified. Like, when did you start to watch them? Like, was it high school?
No, I would say Apollo 18 was like one of the first horror movies I probably saw in the theater.
Okay.
I don't know. That's a pretty scary premise, if you ask me. I was just also legitimately scared of aliens growing up because I thought I saw one in Alaska. That's on an episode.
I was like, yeah, I was terrified. I'm still scared of aliens, but it was so funny that trailers, and I think we were like making funny too, which was like, I think we were just laughing. We're like, why is he crying? I don't know. That's
anyways. How'd you like Requiem for a Dream?
Okay.
How do I put this lightly?
So I paid attention. I didn't watch it. I started watching it during work, and I was like, this is probably not how I should watch it. So I waited and watched it after work. And okay, I liked it. Very excited to see a Wayans in there. I was not expecting that.
Me neither.
And he was really good. He was honestly, I think he was the more compelling character for me.
Not even the mom?
Well, I mean, out of that duo. But maybe I just don't like Jared Leto. I don't know.
Oh.
But no, like the mom was very compelling. I didn't really know anything about this movie. I knew it had to do with drugs. And so I was wondering, like, oh, maybe the mom, I don't know. I just, my notions of what this movie was is that she was already, an addict, and that's why her kid was. And that kind of, I like how they turned it on its head and didn't make it like he explored different kinds of addiction that are really harmful to you, and like the diet industry. And honestly, it's kind of scary how it's not really changed that much. Like, they're just rebranding it to be instead of literally giving you like what was it, like heroin or something, like whatever they were giving her was like literal, terrible drugs that probably as bad as what her son was taking. And now it's like tummy tea, it's like, it's still not good for you. Yeah, I liked that. That was interesting. And that was the part of the movie that I think was a little bit more interesting than the other ones. I think because it used so much different kinds of storytelling. Like, it used a lot of imagery and like a lot of effects, and how I really liked that scene of every time the fridge would like do anything, it scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
And I really like that scene where she's hallucinating that her house is a set. I loved that scene. And yeah, I think I do see what you mean about, I don't think it wasn't as life-changing for me. I didn't have that experience during it, but I really liked that aspect of it. And I was waiting for the end, being like, okay, is this going to scare me? Because people overhype the end a little bit, and they say that it's like terrifying, and it is scary. Like, it's scary to see that stuff happening, but like, I think I'm just desensitized to the stuff I've seen already, where his arm shit, yeah, that was gross. But the mom's part, where like looking at what she turned into, was really scary to see, especially because she was so like, I don't know. I felt so bad for her because she didn't really do anything wrong. She like did what she was advised to do. So
yeah,
I don't know. I guess maybe I just don't understand the ending. Like I understood what happened, but maybe I just don't understand like why people think it's so terrifying. Like maybe is it just because you're not people that I'm not familiar with what it's like to be a drug addict. So I mean, it was scary to see that people go through that. Especially what happened to the girlfriend too. Like all that stuff is just it's sad to see people that desperate. Another thing, this is nitpicky. I didn't like the music. I didn't like it. I didn't like the way that it kept like I just don't like this might just be like an ADHD. Well, I know it is an ADHD thing, but I don't like when music repeats itself. And it felt like and like over and over again, kind of like house music. I hate EDM, like all that music, because it just keeps doing the same stuff over and over again. And it just I just don't like it. It's like a sensory thing.
No,
And
yeah,
this
Kayla's the same way. She's explained it
yeah,
pretty similarly.
yeah, and this one felt exactly the same, where it was that same like dramatic
Especially
music over and over
especially the
again.
end.
Yeah, and so that I yeah, that's probably I don't know if that's actual critique. I think it's just a sensory thing. I didn't care for that as much. And yeah, I don't know. I thought it was a decent movie. Maybe it's just not for me. It's one of those classics that I feel like it's just not my thing.
That's
Yeah.
fair.
I'm interested to see what you like what because you didn't really go too much into what you thought because I hadn't seen it yet.
Yeah. Well, so the reason I think it changed my brain is I like how you say, you know, those movies where you didn't know movies could do that. I legitimately know or did not know a film could make me feel such a way at the ending. I think it's because one, the music is just so jarring,
Mm-hmm.
uh and the like paired with like it's just the best editing I think I've ever seen because it evokes such a insane emotion, and at
Mm-hmm.
least in me, uh and just like the overall story of it is just completely sad. It's so
Yeah.
depressing. Just like I know they, for the most part, like not necessarily, or you could argue that they didn't, but it happened to them. Like the stuff that they went through all happened because of stuff that they did. And I don't think anyone wants to be in the position that they were at the end of this movie. And it's just
Mm-hmm.
when I put myself in the perspective of those characters at the end of the movie, I'm like, and to think about the rest of their lives after,
Mm-hmm.
like Jared Leto's character, we'll probably never see, I don't remember her name, but his love interest character again, probably never see his
Mm-hmm.
mom again. It's just like so depressing to me. And like a movie has never done that to me where it's uh made me feel that strictly
Yeah.
based
Okay.
on the
Mm-hmm.
music, the editing, all of that put together, I think is just like so amazing that you can do that and insane.
No, I see that. I think definitely it's not a movie I ever want to see again. So I guess
Yeah,
I think it did it. It did what it was supposed to do in that way. Like I even I think whenever I called you when the point I stopped at was it was like at the very beginning. And I called you for something, and I told you that like I was already triggered because of the scene where the mom couldn't put on her coat or not her coat, her dress.
hmm,
But I maybe that's why like I hate to say that I wasn't as interested in the other storylines, especially because they were all so brutal. But I kind of wasn't. But I think it was because I just related so much more to the moms. With
right.
I mean I've never done that kind of weight loss thing of like wanting to be on TV. That's never happened to me, but I've the themes in that of like the fridge being an enemy and like not just an enemy but like kind of like a demon that haunts you and
Yeah.
um yeah, like not even she didn't even want to win anything, she just wanted to be on TV to feel important, like all of that. I think because I related so much to that was the saddest part to me, and the fact that she one of my I also just don't I have a really big fear of like not knowing what's going on with me, like as far as like
Yeah.
my mental health goes. I took so long to go to a psychiatrist. Like I went to I took so long to go to a therapist, but I took even longer to go to a psychiatrist because I just didn't trust like the medication, all that stuff just like really freaked me out. And I think it's just like a trust of not knowing what's happening to me and what people are like. I just don't even as, and I don't think this, I mean, maybe this woman in this movie like experienced that, but just a fat person just going to any sort of doctor is always just, it honestly, it's like not terrifying, but it's like, I don't know, because everything that you do as a fat person is about your weight. And so that was a thing that was like, it didn't directly translate because this was mostly about her like mental capacity, but it did feel like that. I did feel that dread of her going to any sort of doctor because even at the beginning, like he didn't give a shit. He was just like, just take this, you lose weight. Like nobody cares when you're overweight. The goal is to lose the weight, and they don't really care how you get to that. They don't care if they literally cause you to have a mental breakdown because you're thin. So they did their job. It's just that terrifying nature of going to the doctor as a fat person and then being like, I will do literally anything
to
make you thin, and I don't care what it takes. And I don't care if you end up getting electrocuted in your fucking brain because you're thin now.
Yeah, just like going catatonic is terrifying to me. Just like
that was really scary. Yeah, and that she didn't know what was going on. I just felt so bad. Ugh.
Yeah, and they were like, yeah, just sign here. Just sign here. We're gonna try.
And she just so trusting. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, that was really sad. Especially, I mean, anybody that has like older family members in your life, that's just fucking terrifying.
Yeah, and Aronofsky did it. I'll say it.
Yeah,
it's terrifying.
He's that man.
Yeah, I maybe want to watch a lot more of his stuff.
I like Mother a little bit more. I think that's more of my speed, even though I didn't know what was going on in that movie either.
Yeah, I was very lost. I didn't realize I have Black Swan, like on. Oh
yeah, I haven't seen that either.
I need to watch it.
That would probably be my favorite of his Black Swan.
Mother?
I can already tell. Mother, I don't know. That's probably one of the cases where I just like the cast a lot, which happens. But I think it was good. I'm glad I watched it. I think it definitely, all the stuff you were describing about like how it made you feel afterwards, I did feel that. So I think it did what it had to do,
Yeah, I've heard it being described as the best film you'll never want to watch again. So
yeah, agreed.
Okay, well let's do the family tree.
I forgot to get a pen, so I have to use. I'm not cheating. I have to use my phone.
Sure. Okay. I'll go. I'll say Jared Leto. Your boy Jared Leto.
I already started typing it, so I'm not cheating. But I didn't spell it right. Jennifer Lawrence.
Lawrence. Okay. Let me get
my easy.
Let me get my phone. Hopefully. Okay, 5 minutes on the clock. Let's go. Boop. Oh, damn.
With James McAvoy. James McAvoy is in Atomic Blonde with Charlize Theron. Charlize Theron is in Hancock with Will Smith.
Yeah.
Will Smith is in The Suicide Squad with Jared Leto.
Dang. I was trying to go. I couldn't remember the name of the movie. I don't know if it's called like The Little Things or something. The one I didn't know.
Oh, I know exactly. I tried to remember that one too, but that movie was so forgettable.
Yeah, like I don't know. Oh, Rami Malek.
That's got in it. Yeah, Rami Malek.
I know Denzel was in it.
Mm-hmm. It's called The Little Things.
The Little Things. Yeah.
What a stupid name for that movie.
Yeah, and then I tried to go like on Jennifer Lawrence's side. I had The Hunger Games, Passengers, and The Silver Linings.
Oh my God, I'm an idiot. Okay, sorry.
And then The Silver Linings Playbook. And I was like Robert De Niro, but I couldn't finish it.
I was thinking I should have done Because I wanted to do Woody Harrelson,
Yeah, with
but I
the
couldn't
Hunger
remember what he
Games.
was in. Yeah, but he was in True Detective with Matthew McConaughey, who
Oh, and
was
Dallas
in
Buyers Club.
Dallas Buyers Club with Jared Leto.
I had Woody Harrelson, and I could have gone like the whole, like someone in the MCU has to have been in a movie with Jared Leto. I feel like. Oh, Morbius hasn't come out yet. I don't know. Either way, what am I watching?
What is Jared Leto in?
Uh,
Could have done
Rec-
Jennifer Connelly.
Fight
Jennifer
Club,
Connelly is in some movie with her husband who's in the MCU.
Fight Club, Mr. Nobody, Blade Runner 2049.
I've never seen Fight Club before.
Me neither. It's on my list.
Do you know who Jennifer Connelly is married to? Do you know who Jennifer
No.
Connelly is?
Yeah. Who is she married to?
I don't know his name. I forget his name, his real name, but Vision.
Oh,
They're in a movie together.
I forgot about that. I forgot that she was Paul Bettany. I remember looking this up when I was watching, or after I watched Requiem for a Dream, and I was like, "What? That's so random."
Mm-hmm.
Paul
Well, they met
Bettany.
on a movie, so it's not that random.
So random. They met on
So random.
Age of
Okay.
Ultron. Yeah, what am I watching?
I don't know. Let me see. I was thinking of maybe a movie that I've never seen. That's always funny to do. Or there's okay, so there's let's see. Let's just do Geostorm.
Holy. God.
Geostorm.
Why is
on
there
HBO
always
Max.
like one of those movies coming out?
This
Like
was,
a
I thought
natural
it was
disaster.
more recent, but it was 2017.
Yeah, I was gonna say I remember it around when I was graduating high school.
Gerard Butler.
Dumb. Okay. I guess I deserved that.
Have you seen? Oh yeah, do that.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, let's cut to the break. And when we come back, we'll talk about Lamb. Lamb.
Yeah. A childless couple, Maria and Ingvar, discover a mysterious newborn on their farm in Iceland. The unexpected prospect of family life brings them much joy before ultimately destroying them. In Lamb. Starring Naomi Rapace. I don't know why I said it like that. And then bringing in somebody else for this one. Perfect. Clear as day. And Bjorn Hilner Haraldsson. Directed by Vladimir Johannesson. Written by Sean, is what I found. And Vladimir Johansson. That was the tension in my back right now.
Oh my goodness.
I'm like sweating. That took so much mentally, and I butchered it. All right, let's keep going.
Critics gave it a 6.7 out of 10 on IMDb and 86% on Rotten Tomatoes. And on Letterboxd, it has an average of a 3.2. And I gave it 2.5.
I think I give it 3.
Yeah, you gave it 3.
I couldn't think of. I was just, my head was empty this afternoon, so I couldn't think of what to put. At first, I put nothing, but then I said I would die for that lamb.
Solid. First thoughts.
I loved it. Honestly, I think
chapter.
I don't even remember the chapter. I don't know why movies do that, but because I truly, how many chapters were there? Were there only 2?
There were 3, I believe.
Okay. We can go chapter by chapter. I don't really remember when they happened.
The first one,
Yeah,
I
very
think,
quiet.
yeah, quiet. First one, uh, they were farming. That's all I
Yes,
remember.
they be farming.
They be do farming simulator.
Okay,
Um,
but this is the thing. I think I don't know. Sometimes I don't know if I actually like a movie or if I like it out of spite. Because I saw people on TikTok particularly, which I don't know, TikTok, film TikTok can be very annoying. But I kept seeing people being like, somebody was made a TikTok where they were talking about how they don't want to see the Bond movie, they want to see Lamb, or they don't want to see Venom, I think it was. They want to see Lamb. And then he duetted himself and he was like, this was not the flex I thought it was. And I didn't watch the full thing because I was scared there'd be spoilers, but he was just I think he was starting off saying like what I've been hearing a lot, how it's really slow. And the one thing he kept saying, or the one thing he said that stuck out to me is he's like, if you just want to watch like footage of beautiful landscapes, and this is the movie for you. And I truly, after watching this movie, I don't know what he's talking about, because they had a lot of wide shots, but like it wasn't like fucking Blade Runner, the movie I always talk shit about, because that's what that movie was. It just felt like it just felt like I was scrolling through like stock images of what space would look like. Like this movie didn't do that at all. I felt like it had so much imagery, and not just like scenery. Like it had the fucking creepy ass sheep. It had, it just had like, it had more interesting things to show, or like what the dog was doing, what the cat was doing. Like, I don't know, whatever. But I have a defense for the quietness in this film. I think that's something you said too. You thought it was kind of slow, or no?
yeah, I thought it was slow. I could see the argument for the whole, like just beautiful images of scenery. Like I feel like
But it wasn't like
throughout.
too much though. Okay, sorry.
No, not too much. I just definitely see it that being an argument. Just overall,
I know.
I don't know.
All right, here's my defense.
Yeah, go for it.
So the thing I said on the phone with you is, I I feel like once you watch, at least for me, once I watch a full movie, I don't have a huge taste of what their sense of what the director is like in every movie, because I've only seen one movie of theirs. But I feel like I can know whether a director this sounds so pretentious. Well, I'm going to be very pretentious in this podcast episode. I just want everybody to know that it's going to happen. So I feel like after watching one movie, I can be able to tell like, okay, so this director kind of knows what they're doing or not. And in this movie, this director, like, he knows what he's doing. So I can't imagine that he doesn't know how to use his time. That's the thing that I feel like because I'm very time conscious, I can tell when a filmmaker just didn't know what to do with all the shots they had or the time they had. And this movie felt so well, like, put together to me. And I refuse to believe the way that people make it seem is like, oh, he didn't know what to do. Like, he didn't know what to do. So he just put in a bunch of shots of like scenery because he got great shots of it. When like, he's not editing a fucking vlog. Like, he knows what he's doing very specific things with the time he's given. So I think the slow start is very intentional, super intentional, and it's well crafted. And it's very integral to painting the state of Maria and Ingvar's life. Kayla scared me. Scared the shit out of me. But I think it was very integral to setting up who they are and the kind of grief that they felt. And I feel like if you would have taken that time out and that slowness out of the movie, then it would have actually made the movie suffer a lot. Because the silence, the reason that people were pointing it out, because it's so fucking loud. The loudest thing about it is that they're so comfortable living in it. At least somebody like me, I like a quiet morning, but they barely spoke a word to each other, and they barely cared about, they did what I've never had lived in a farm before, but I can't imagine I would go up to a sheep and not be like, hi, like they just like didn't really talk to, and they didn't really like I don't know, it just felt like they were fucking robots and that they were just like going through the motions, not really giving a shit about what was going on through their day. And
Monotonous. Yeah.
yeah. And how I wrote this, and again, pretentious, but every inch of that farmhouse is covered. It's like you can just feel that the shame and the regret. Like you can feel, you don't know what it is until after, but it just feels like something's hanging over them. And you don't know what it is, but it just does not feel right. And the only way you can sense that and you can tell that is when you sit in it yourself. And so that's why I love, because people, especially when it comes to horror, people constantly want to be entertained. They want to have some sort of jump scare happen every fucking minute. And horror is not like that sometimes. Movies are not like that. They don't always serve to entertain you every second of the day. And maybe that's an American thing. Maybe that's because this movie's foreign. Like it's kind of, for a lack of a better term, foreign to us to just sit in our thoughts or sit in what the movie is serving us. But like, I love that this movie, it felt like it was serving you an experience and it was making you sit in their silence and just be like, okay, what's going on? You know, you can't really, there's not, you don't have, not every movie has to make you enjoy the experience. You just have to go through it. And I don't know. I feel like that's why everything, like if you look back on that time in the beginning, the first chapter just feels so heavy, even though there's no dialogue. Their farmhouse is like not really decorated. It's very bare. There's even the sheep. They're like making noise because they're fucking animals, but they're also very quiet. They're like very like there's no life in that farmhouse. Maybe the most lively thing is the dog, like, but I feel like the reason it's so heavy is because the thing that's hanging over them, they will not let it go. And they never talk about it. Like it just speaks so loudly to me that there is something going on and you can see it in their faces, but they just do not want to talk about it.
Yeah, I did like that part just of the movie, how they managed to tell so much with so little,
Yeah.
The only kind of inkling that you're given that something happened is like the first line of dialogue, which is like 30 minutes in or something, where he's talking about time travel. He's reading the newspaper. He's like, time travel, like they've discovered how it's possible, and she's like, well, it's not realistic or whatever. You can't go back and change. I don't really remember, but that was like kind of the effect of that whole interaction. And that kind of gave you like everything that you really needed to, which is cool.
I don't know. I think my whole thing, and the reason I hate, I understand the criticism, and I don't think people should not critique movies for being too slow, but I just do not understand. Like when people say that in certain movies, I can understand what they're saying. I don't get it for this movie at all. And I think that's why I'm like so angry, because I'm like, y'all want a fucking slow movie? I can probably find you way more that are like, I think Batman vs Superman is a very, very slow movie and there's a lot of action in it. So like, I think the thing I'm saying is when we're saying show, don't tell, we mean everything. It's not just them having a conversation being like, hey, our kid died. That sucked, right? It's like we want to see that their life is not really, it's like when you lose, I've never lost somebody in this way, thank God, but like I can imagine now seeing this movie, when you lose somebody that important in your life, that's what happens. You just go through the motions. There's no life in your life anymore. You like lose a lot. And you can tell with like some things, like they have like a couch in their farm. Like there's just like little remnants of what they used to be. And they're just still living in it. It's like they're living in their own fucking coffin because they just don't want to live anymore. I don't know. Just that's my defense for the quietness. And I think I'm just mad because every TikTok, I've seen only a handful because I usually scroll past them, but every single one of them is like, nothing happened in this movie. And I'm like, what movie did you watch? Because everything happened in this movie. What are you talking about?
I get I
That's
feel like
it.
a lot of the transition shots were mainly scenely, or the like scenery.
Seemly.
Scenely. And that's like more, at least I remember more of those images. Like those strike out to me more.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really remember those at all, but yeah, I don't know.
Not so much in the first
Whatever.
chapter. I would say more so in the second and third. So the
Okay.
end of the first is where the birth of
Ada.
the lamb, Ada, is happens, and the second one is second. I didn't like the first chapter so much. Second chapter, I was like, this has my attention. This has got me.
Okay. Yes. So I think one of the things that I loved that this movie did, and another evidence of being very intentional with his time, is we don't see the lamb until we don't like fully we see Ada's like head. Like we see it's a sheep, right? Or it's a lamb.
Excuse
But we
you.
don't
It's a lamb.
but we don't fully see the lamb until like 30 minutes in, which is like a third. Well, yeah, it's like the third of the movie,
Mm-hmm. In chapter
which
2.
is genius. Because I was like, show me the fucking baby. Like, I need to see it. Because and that's the thing too that I fucking loved is that I think we talk about this before. We're like taking on the journey that they want you to be on. Where I could not, all I could think about is I want to see, I like, what does it fucking look like? And I kept picturing in my head, and I was like, how are they going to do this? Like, does it look like a lamb, but it's just like built different? Like, like what does it look like? I
Right.
truly did not think they would actually have like a literal half lamb, half baby. That was shocking to me.
Yeah,
And I loved it.
and even then, like we don't, like I don't remember seeing her right hand until like the third chapter, where you see it's
Yeah.
like a hoof.
I at least didn't notice it until then.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just love that they did that. And I also one thing that I felt dumb about, but every time I would see that lamb, I would giggle every single time. I couldn't help it. And maybe this is the right time to talk about the board today. And I keep forgetting to ask you about your vinyl. I don't know if you want to take time now, or if you even want
I
to say anything, or if you just want to leave
I
it.
just pick it randomly.
Oh, okay, never mind.
I just hairstyles.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. So I go through many iterations when I do my board, especially when I don't know. Like this movie didn't really, because it was in a different language, it was hard to find like a line or, remember a line or do something like that. So the first one that went through my mind and that I almost did, but I thought it'd be a little too controversial was fuck Baby Yoda. Because truly, as soon as I saw Ada, I was like, oh, Baby Yoda could fucking die. I don't care. Because this is the thing. This is what I care about is this lamb. This lamb is everything to me. Especially when she put on the fucking flower crown. I was like, yep.
You got
Fuck
me.
Baby Yoda. Fuck him. I don't care.
The child, who cares?
No, I don't want to see any more dolls. As soon as A24 like releases that lamb doll, I'm buying every one of them.
In fact, I wish you would die.
Honestly, I am like lighting a candle for it. Honestly,
You heard it here. When Baby Yoda dies.
Why do I care about a Baby Yoda when the lamb had a coat on? Why do I care?
What did the Baby Yoda have? Like a curtain?
Yeah,
a tunic?
He just laid down. She walked in a field with a coat on
and had a flower crown.
Honestly, that's my defense of this movie. And I should, I went through the whole tangent of being an asshole and saying that people need to, be quiet during movies more. But you know what? The lamb had a coat on.
Lamb did have a coat on.
So what are we even talking about at this point? The lamb had a fucking coat on. I needed, you know what I really wanted to see? I wanted to see a shopping scene of them buying this coat. Oh, but okay, wait, I got sad again because I realized that's probably their kid, the dead kid's clothes. Oh, yikes. Never mind. But the lamb had a coat on. That's all I needed to say. And we can talk more about the lamb if you want, because I found how they made the lamb.
Yeah, go for it.
There's a quote from, I think it was IndieWire. Still an ambitious technical, I don't know that word. Basically, they did a lot of shit to get this lamb to work, into crafting Ada, including the hiring of at least 10 child actors of various age ranges, 2 puppeteers, and multiple visual effects professionals. In a given scene, the child actor would wear something best described as a green screen swim cap, or in other cases, more like a helmet, depending on the age of the actor. As in the finished movie, it's mostly Ada's lamb head we see on top of a small human body. In terms of casting the child stand-ins, the director recruited children within ages ranging between 6 and 12 months and 2 to 3 years, with many children cast out of the northern Iceland region where the film was shot. And so they described it more in depth in IndieWire, but they basically would have I think they would have the child actor there and the puppeteer would also be there. And so like they would have to hide them in like very weird ways. So like, for example, whenever we first see Ada and she's like laying in the crib, the baby would be laying there and the puppeteer would have to hide like underneath the crib and the little puppet thing.
That'd be a cool behind the scenes photo to see that.
I need to see. I should have. I'll look for it. I'll see if I don't think they have anything, but they might.
Yeah, I was gonna say it. Gotta say the special effects. They did a really good job.
Really good. There's some parts where I'm like, I was kind of like, but I mean, as you can tell from the like 500 fucking titles, like production companies that funded this thing at the beginning, it felt like 2 minutes of just funded by, in production with, all those things. It's an indie, so it's kind of hard to, blame them for that. But yeah, it looked pretty good.
Especially the end. The
yes.
papa.
Yeah.
Very good.
Very good. Very terrifying. Yeah. And then so we have the lamb with her coat on. Cutest fucking thing I've ever seen. Fuck you, baby Yoda. And then the brother. So that was weird how they did that. I like how I don't know. At first I was like, so is he like gonna rob them? Like what's happening? And then
I didn't know they were related.
I think I wonder if they did it on purpose, but whenever he was like, he walked in or he walked up to the brother, I was like, so like, why is he not being like, who are you?
Yeah.
And then we find out that they're brothers. I don't know how much we want to say about the brother. I do like that he was like, what the fuck is happening? Like he was very
on the audience's side. Like,
yeah.
y'all seeing this shit?
I was trying to imagine, like, can you imagine if that happened to me? So like let's switch where it's me and you show up at my house and you see that I have a fucking lamb with a coat on. What would you be like? What's happening?
Yeah, but I think I would be so much in shock.
Blunt, though.
Yeah, I would be like that straight up in front of the lamb. I think. Like, what are you doing, bro? What are you doing here?
The fuck is this? What's happening?
Got a coat on though, so
we're like, wait till you see the fucking coat I got him. Well, hold up. Let me see the coat real quick. All right. So, but okay. So about the brother, that's the only thing about this movie I don't understand. I don't understand the point of Maria like cheating on her husband with him.
Yeah.
I don't get that.
I was curious. Was it like an affair that had happened, or was he like he's been trying to get her to cheat?
It felt like it had happened.
Okay, I was under that impression, but then I don't know. It confused me too.
I'm willing to say firmly that it had happened. I don't know how many times, but I'm pretty sure that they had an affair.
Yeah.
They at least
just,
slept with each other.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
It makes
understand.
sense to me.
I don't understand. Maybe I don't know. They don't really talk about that as much in the interviews I saw, but I don't really understand the point of that. Like, I feel like you could have cut that completely out and would have been fine. Like anything he did, like even like serving the plot, like the tractor breaking down could have been the dad. Him leaving, he could have just left. Like why?
Yeah.
Like what was the point of that? I just don't understand that at all.
The only thing I can think of is, oh, not even then, because he almost killed her. And he was just gonna go execute her. You don't remember that? That was like
Who?
so. The brother. He was like,
Gonna
come
kill
on.
who?
The lamb.
Oh, the lamb. I thought you were talking about Maria. Yeah, but then like,
What are you talking about?
no, I thought you were talking about
Do we
Maria
watch the same movie?
gaslighting you. I made
was
this
like-
whole thing about how I fucking love this movie, and I'm like, what?
One of the like
I've only
major
I've
things. I
only
was like,
seen
holy
the
shit.
trailer like 5 times. I thought you were talking about Maria. Yeah, but
No.
even then, like,
Yeah, I don't know what the purpose of it.
I don't know. I feel like I'm glad you also feel the same way because I thought I missed something. Because I told Sebastian, I was like, that was a good movie. What the fuck was the point of her fucking the brother? What was that?
Yeah, and then he just like dipped.
Yeah. Don't understand it. Maybe it'll come to us whenever we're talking about it. But one thing, I don't know if you have anything else to say about. Well, first, because I think this is just the rest of it is just like my thoughts on the ending. Yeah. So, yeah. Do you have any more thoughts? Well, for one, there's just so much shit happened in this. So they basically took the baby for themselves, or the lamb. Excuse me. They took it for themselves, which at first I was like, I mean, I kind of get it. Like if you see something that looks like a baby, then you're like, yeah, I mean, I can't fucking leave it in the farm, like, yeah, I'm going to take it. And the sheep, they're sheep, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was, sorry. So the sheep that gave birth to Ada just, I was losing my mind.
They're
I
sheep,
didn't want to
right?
keep
Please.
saying-
Please, for the love of God, tell me they're sheep. I had no choice but to say yes, like regardless if you're wrong or not. Like,
oh,
yeah, they're sheep.
I'm losing
Sure.
my mind. It's 10 o'clock on a Tuesday. Yeah, it's Tuesday. I was like, okay. What was I saying? Oh, so the sheep, as we confirmed it, is a sheep. She kept going. This was sad where she kept going to the window of like
mom.
their room.
Mhm.
Yeah. And she was just like, or I don't know what you call it, just bawing. Or what the fuck you call that?
Bleat, I think.
Just calling for, let's just say that. Calling for the lamb.
Yeah, it's bleeding.
Bleeding?
BLEATING. Bleating.
Oh, okay. They said bleed, like bleeding.
No. Don't be
Okay.
stupid.
How do you know that?
I don't know.
Okay.
It just makes sense to me in my brain. Like,
Okay.
sheep go bleat. Sheep go bleat.
You
That
know?
should have been on the board. Sheep go bleat.
I honestly I didn't know it was a sheep until this recording.
Hilarious.
So, oh my God, okay. This is going off the rails.
Yeah, it is kind of
Okay. So she kept bothering them basically, where they kept, even when they were watching TV and you could just hear her in the fucking background just bleeding.
And then she was bleeding out because she got shot.
What a stupid way. Yeah. And okay, so I feel like that's pretentious, but that's the real horror of this movie. Because it wasn't really like scary, but I think the scary part was that I kind of was rooting for her to do that. Like I was like, yeah, the sheep's being fucking annoying.
Yeah, it was like
that
should have happened. That should have happened straight up.
Yeah, this is correct. And at the very end, I was like, oh, I'm an asshole. Got it. Because I mean, okay, we'll get to that. So that all happened. the brother and her were having like a whole thing, and so she kicked him out. And the next day, while she's still trying to, she kicks the guy out, the brother. Oh, and I forgot, I didn't mention this, but like the cat, I think it was the cat and the dog like went outside and they saw, like we saw through a reflection, like something standing. That did scare the shit out of me. I was like, what the fuck is that? Because I truly didn't think, like the direction that this movie went into, I did not expect. I kind of jokingly, whenever we first saw Ada, I leaned over to Sebastian. I was like, oh, he fucked the sheep.
That would have been like, the whole reason for the brother being there. Like, she fucked his brother, he fucked the sheep.
Fuck the sheep. And I was like, we're all thinking it. I so badly wanted to tell Sebastian that, like, well, let's just say what we're all thinking.
Everyone, right?
Oh, let's do it together, guys.
On three.
The sheep. But that is not the direction they went in. I thought they weren't going to explain it. Like, I thought it was just kind of like a whatever. And the trailer did a good job of misdirecting, because I did think that the brother was going to do something. So maybe that was a point. I don't know. Of showing the acceptance of like, this is their, you know, when he said like what's happening and the brother says happiness, like that was kind of cute. Maybe that was the point of that, is just that one line. I don't know. But
I think it's like the whole like man versus nature. Like,
maybe
whatever man wants is more important than like,
definitely.
Yeah, whatever nature is, they just take from whatever you can to make yourself happy. So selfish.
Yeah. And I don't know if that's
and it's hard,
it's kind of just up for interpretation. I think that's what the director said, where he was like, it's kind of whatever people want to think it is.
Yeah.
Because at the end, do you want to explain what happens?
I don't even, they go, the dad takes Ada.
He's trying to take her home or something.
Yeah, and I don't really remember. He turns her.
So I don't remember like the specifics, but
her real dad shows up
and he shoots him in the fucking head. Or no, in the chest. In
the chest or the throat. I don't really remember.
Oh yeah, the throat. And I think he shot him twice, didn't he?
Yeah, with the same gun that shot his I don't know if his wife, but his the mom.
Yeah, the sheep, as we confirmed. The sheep.
Yeah, and that's pretty sad.
Yeah, it made me and Sebastian really sad. Where
she's so confused.
She's confused, and that's the only parents that she ever knew. And at this point, I don't know if he said this, but she hadn't really been talking. Like, she had been like, you know, we could tell she was like, she knew how to communicate with them, or she would like nod or, you know, shake her head. But that's the first time we hear her say anything is whenever he gets shot and he's on the floor and he's bleeding out. He's bleeding out, not bleating. She well, can you imagine if he turned into a sheep then? What a weird, that would have been a funny
duel.
Yeah.
How it should have ended.
And she says, I think we hear her say Papa, like very not slowly, very quietly says it. And it's very sad, because I mean, sure, that's a real dad, but like, what, you gotta shoot him right in front of her? But whatever. Yeah. And so, like you were saying, I'm sorry, I just wanted to like say the ending and then we can get into what we think. But like you were saying, the nature versus man.
Yeah, man versus nature. The whole, like the movie. I don't know. You could think like, oh man, these people are shitty because they stole this kid and they shot the mom.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
at the same time, you know, something shitty happened to them.
But the thing I said to Sebastian, because I was like, their grief does not trump the grief that they put onto these other.
For sure, that's what I was just about to say. It's like it isn't validated or whatever, but it's just an interesting, like, I don't know what the right word, but
conflict.
thing to conflict.
And such an interesting conflict to have in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Because the one thing I loved about this movie so much is that it felt, so I'm trying to see what I wrote. So the thing I really love is that it makes you sympathize more with the humans. And it's very intentional in doing that because that's, we spend more time with them and we understand them because we see ourselves in them. And it just feels natural to be like, yeah, they know they can take care of a baby, right? And I didn't really feel, like I said, like the scary thing is I didn't feel that bad for the sheep that gave birth to Ada, because I was like, it's a sheep, which is really shitty to think now, but like, I mean, I'm sure I'm not the only one that thought that.
No, you are. You're a terrible person.
Okay. Well, I can live with that. But yeah, I think the fact that I didn't care just like until I reflected on it really scared me, and that was like the unsettling part of it. And yeah. And the thing I did want to talk about is that it made me think. The thing I first thought of was the ethics, or I guess the ethical. I'm not going to talk about ethics in general, but the ethics of adopting Randall and what that must feel like for the animals happening. And like truly, and I kind of got emotional when I was telling Sebastian this, so I had to like stop thinking about it. But I don't know, I just truly never really thought about that situation in a, I don't know if I should say humane, but I never really reflected on that situation at all. And I don't know, I feel like, so in my case, like whenever I adopted Randall, he was in foster care, like with one of the people that, like one of the board members of the place that we adopted him from. And and obviously people like this happens all the time where a puppy or a dog will have a litter and they'll be found. I think in Randall's mom's case, she was pregnant and that's when they found her. So she gave birth in the shelter and she had a litter. I think it was like maybe 7 or 8 of just all boys. And that's the situation. Or like what happens is, when puppies have litters, yeah, you either, if it's in a, or it doesn't matter where it is, but like either if it's a place where like a breeder, they'll sell them. If it's a shelter like we got him from, then they'll adopt him out. But I think the specifics of what happened with me is what made me feel really emotional. And I don't really know how to grapple with it because whenever we got him, he was in a foster home. He had just been returned from somebody because I guess they couldn't really handle a puppy, which fair enough. And whenever he was brought back, his mom was still also in that foster home. And he was the only one out of his litter left. And so when I went to go get him, like pick him up, he was with her. They had been sleeping in the same crate. I think he was only there for like a night. So it was one night that they'd been sleeping in the crate, maybe 2. Actually, probably a couple, because it took a while. The process took a little bit. And whenever I got him, like whenever I first met him in person and picked him up, they were playing around with each other. They were running around. And the thing that made me emotional, I told Sebastian, I never thought about that day. I don't know how, obviously, we don't know how dogs fucking like how they perceive the world, but I never thought about that day through her perspective. That she 1 second had been running around with her puppy, like with her son, and then I picked him up and I left. And she never saw him again. Isn't that fucking sad? Like, yeah. I was in the parking lot of the Santikos, I was just like crying because I was like, I did that to her. And then like Sebastian had a conversation about like, well, I mean, this maybe is shitty, but like we live in a world
that's
where
acceptable.
It happens. That happens. That's not only acceptable, but it's encouraged. That happens all the time. I mean, I don't know what it's like. Maybe I should look it up. but I don't know in the wild like what happens. And I had to ask Sebastian, he was like, well, wolves usually live in packs and they never leave them. And I was like, that does not make me feel better. But I told him, like, I mean, I would like to think that if we like if I was able to, because she was already adopted at that point, so there was not even a choice of like getting her, because she was leaving like the next day. But I don't know, I guess I can't ever answer that question of like if I would have taken her too, or if I would have taken his entire family, or if I, because I'm not able to do that. I mean, I live in an apartment that only lets you have 2 animals, so like, and he's happy now, I think, like, well, I'm sure he's happy now. We take care of him, so it's not like he's struggling. But I literally took him from his mom. I didn't shoot her outside out in the back, but like
I was gonna say that, but I was like, maybe it's
not the
not.
time.
I was like, you didn't shoot her.
I mean, but like,
but it is an interesting thing to watch this movie and then reflect on that experience and see that.
And that, I mean, maybe that's, I don't know if this is just a way to make myself feel better, but maybe that's the answer, is like, if I could change it, I would. Like, if tomorrow they were like, we have a situation where she is able to take care of all of them, I would like, I mean, it would probably be really hard to, but if I don't know if I would not, I don't know if that would be an easy thing to do, to be like, okay, well, he can go back to his mom. Like, I don't know.
You just gotta watch out for his dad.
I know. God. Honestly, that's I think why I like this ending too, because I was like, if his mom came back and was like fucking pissed and like beat the shit out of me, I'd be like, you know what?
Maybe you valid though. You valid though. You're valid.
Maybe. But yeah, I don't know. It's just like a weird parallel too, because that doesn't happen a lot, I don't think, where you get, I mean, maybe it does, where you get to like see, I literally like, he was running around playing with his mom, and then I took him home and she never saw him again. And I don't know I don't know what that experience was like for her. Well, what I'm saying is, maybe this will make me, is just to make me feel better, but like, maybe the answer for me is to acknowledge that, and to be, whenever I'm like, I don't pray, but whenever I'm counting my blessings, to like have her in there, to be like, well, if it wasn't for her, then I wouldn't have him. So like, maybe I just, everything I do, in every appointment I take him to, and every piece of food that I feed him, that I have that like thought of being grateful for her and hoping that she's in a good situation too.
That is a really, really interesting time to watch this movie.
I know.
Wow.
And it helped, I think, especially because we talked so much, or not so much, but we talked about like that like weird week of just like intense depression I had. And maybe because I'm like pretty much out of it. And so I can't imagine if I watched this movie then. But I don't know. I think that gave me a lot more perspective of like, you have I mean, this is not going to cure depression, just, saying this to myself, but it is good to remind myself, like, you have the privilege of taking care of him. So like, don't take it for granted. Yeah.
That's a good movie right there. If it can make you think like that.
I think that's why I love it so much. I really needed it.
I could see that.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, I always love when movies like, just like, how the fuck did you know I experienced this? It's like,
and I don't even know if they like, and it's such a specific situation that they can't even, there's no way that they would have ever thought somebody would take this from it,
Yeah.
Maybe they did. I don't know. But interesting. Yeah. I do want to talk about the very end shot though. I don't know if this is something that I was kind of confused about of her. So it's after Maria finds what happened. Well, I think she can tell, she puts 2 and 2 together probably. And the very end shot is it's like a weird shot of her, like not center of screen. It's kind of still has a lot of the like sky behind her, and she's just looking around, and then she finally, like, I think there's like a moment of realization, and she like looks up or something like that, and then it ends. And I was kind of confused about that, but after reflecting on it, and I want to see what you thought, but it felt very strange for me at the beginning, but I think it is a mirror of a scene that happened at the beginning of the movie. So after the sheep had the lamb and they took her away, there's a scene of the sheep, like the mom with the other ones, but she's in her own like pen, like it's kind of like a very small square that she can like run circles around. And she is doing that. She's like aimlessly wandering around and just like looking. And I remember like looking through each like side and each corner. And I remember leaning over Sebastian, I was like, this is making me sad because you can tell she's looking for like her baby. And so I think it's a mirror of that, because that's kind of what she's not running around in circles, but she is kind of in the same position of just having Ada, whatever her name is, taken from her. And she's just like looking around and trying to figure out like what she's going to do.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense to me. And that's good. That's some good like circular plot. I like that.
I like that a lot, because I think at the end, another thing I realized too, and I don't know if people also thought this, but as soon as she made that, like, it was like a sigh, or it was kind of like like I said, a moment of realization. I was like, oh, she's just gonna leave it. She's not gonna go find her. That's what I thought happened. I don't think.
Yeah, she like
because I think she
came to
realized
terms with it. Yeah, she was like, I fucked up. You know what? This is like even an eye for an eye.
And I mean,
kind of.
What are you gonna do? Yeah, and so I have an ending. If people want to know like what the director and what Naomi, the lady that played Maria, she's an amazing actress, but she also produced this movie, I think. So they had a discussion with I think it was New York Times, somebody, but where they talked about what the ending means to them. And so the director said, I don't know where they live, but he can stand. What? Oh, so they're asking about what the dad, like the hybrid, whatever the fuck, what he stands for. Like, I think the interview asked is like, does he stand for nature? And so the director said, I don't know where they live, but he can stand for so many things. And then Naomi said, is he nature or the devil or karma? I mean, the human characters do take something that is not theirs to have. The lamb, Ada, doesn't belong to them. We basically steal her and I shoot her mom. I think Maria knows that happiness is a short chapter, that it's borrowed time. That's why she didn't run after Ada. She knew that she had it coming somehow.
I like that idea of it being a borrowed time.
Yeah.
And her time was up.
And she was happy. I mean, they did say they were very happy, but it's over.
Happiness is fleeting. Nothing ever lasts. And the lamb had a coat on.
The lamb had on a coat.
I gotta say, after talking about it, this is like a common thing. I like this movie a little bit more. I wish there was more lore on the lambs, because I remember we talked about this trailer very few times. I think this has happened where we talk about a trailer and then we actually have a full episode on it. Mm-hmm. Going back, I know I talked for sure about the there's like this one scene where there's like an opening in the chest of the lamb. I wish there was like more lore into it, because I feel like when we watched it, we were like, oh, what if there's like people in, like, they're not lambs, they're little people. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. Well, I just wish there was a little bit more lore.
I'm sure there is if you look for it.
Yeah, probably.
Like, I think I did read something. I'll send you the article, but I think he did talk about some of the lore of like Icelandic stuff, and I'm sure it's based on something. I kind of like that it lives in its own world, though. I really like when movies don't explain themselves too much. Like I did. I when they showed the dad, I was like, fuck, we're gonna see like a whole fucking camp of them. But then I like that he just fucking leaves and that's it. And the mom's like, and Maria's like, okay, like that's fine with me. All right, I have some fun facts to close out. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Number one, it took 8 years to make this movie.
Damn, bro. That's a long time.
Worth it. In preparation for her role, Naomi Rapace, I feel like I'm saying her name stupidly, but whatever, spent time on an Icelandic farm and even learned how to actually help a sheep bring a sheep into the world. That's one thing I had a question about, and I think this kind of answers it, because the scenes where they're like helping, they're like basically pulling the fucking lambs out of the sheep. I was like, this looks real, and it looks like she actually knows what she's doing. So I think she actually did learn how to do this. Which is kind of cool.
I was gonna say that.
What a
that
weird
was
thing
pretty,
to know.
Yeah, awesome skill.
Pretty gnarly, but kind of cool. All right. So highest. Oh, what? Oh yeah. So second to last. So this is the highest grossing motion.
Highest. Wait.
Well, so most of these I'll edit them because I'll edit them in the way that I would say them, and this one I did not. I just copied and pasted it. So this is the highest grossing motion picture in the history of Icelandic cinema as of 2021, earning over millions of dollars on the first weekend alone. This also makes the first film the most attended Icelandic film shown in the US theaters ever, again on the first weekend alone. And this despite being pitted against such big name blockbusters like the James Bond franchise, which premiered in USA theaters on that same weekend. Weekend.
people over talking all over TikTok. I watched Lamb instead of
fuck y'all.
I gotta say, when I went by myself. Oh
yeah, you said something happened, right?
Yeah, I just assumed there were a bunch of frat boys, but they came in, sat down, a little bit loud, and I was like, they're just gonna talk throughout the movie. But they didn't. The only thing that they really said at the end was when it finished, they were like, what the fuck happened? I kid you not, in that voice.
And almost every A24 movie I've seen, that exact phrase is said. Like when I watched The Witch and Hereditary and this other movie with Ethan Hawke that I forget the name, people are like, what?
That shit sucked.
Why would you see this? Why would they even see that? Who let them in?
I don't know. It was like a group of them too, because I just imagine they were like like, let's go see the Lamb movie. Baby Lamb.
Don't you wish they would have, like, is it called subverted like your expectations, where they would have been like, wow, that was a masterpiece. Like, just do something fully, not just super
eloquent.
Yeah. And he like talks to you. He's like, you know what? I feel like I need to defend the quietness in this movie real quick.
He's like, I see you're noting this on Letterboxd. Would you like to follow mine?
All right, the last one. This is my favorite. I saved it for last. So, I'm not gonna say her name again. The actress that played Maria. She said, out of all the animals, the cat was the worst to work with, and called her a quote diva. So this is from IndieWire, a quote. In one scene, the cat is meant to jump up on the bed and interact with the sleeping Maria. Naomi says, the cat caretaker is throwing cat candy on me, so I'm there flinching every time it lands on me, trying to pretend that the candy is not hitting me, and the cat is sitting next to the camera just watching. And then the director says, cut, like he's just like, whatever. And the cat finally then jumps on her and eats the candy whenever he calls cut. So the cat was a little shit. I can't believe I forgot to mention this, but the lamb also holds a cat. I think I laughed really hard.
I don't remember that.
Like screamed whenever she like walks. I think the dad just woke up, like it was like in the morning or something. And which you can't tell, it's like the same light every the entire movie. But when she like is sitting at the dining table, and we like, you can hear her doing something, and I think you hear the cat like meowing or something, and then they cut to her sitting and the cat is in her lap and she's holding it. You don't remember that? I'm gonna get that fucking tattooed on me. That was the cutest thing I've ever seen in my fucking life.
No, I don't really remember it.
So good. All right. That's all the notes I have. All the fun facts. All right. That's it.
This is a long ass episode.
Oh, yeah. How long have we been going?
My recording has been going for 2 hours, but I think
Worth it. Well, you also did take like a 20-minute shit break.
yeah, bro. I don't think I'm gonna tweet it, but I had to grab the bowl with both hands for stability.
I think
Y'all
you
know
should
what I'm
tweet
talking
it.
about.
Tweet it and then I'll retweet it instantly.
Maybe. We'll see. Okay.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
I've given everything.
I've given this everything I have. And this is a really chaotic episode, I feel like.
We should add in 20 minutes of just scenery. I can
Audible
do a B-roll
scenery.
of my apartment.
Yeah, we'll do that. I'll just record audio of me on the bus, just like ambient sound.
Ooh, I can put Randall in the hoodie.
Do that.
I don't know if once he recovers.
Yeah, he's hurt.
He's hurt. He's fine. He's not hurt.
He's in pain.
No, we gave him some meds that they gave us.
Dang. All right. Well, thanks for listening if you made it this far.
Comment the lamb had a coat on.
Yeah, if you made it this far.
I don't know where you would comment that. Never mind. Don't comment that.
Comment on the YouTube. The lamb grabbed the bowl, the toilet bowl.
with hand and hoof.
Hand and hoof.
Okay, let's end it. We have to go.
Yeah, we gotta go. All right. Bye.